What's going on YouTube? My name is Ginjtcg or Chris, and today I'm bringing you a Toedscruel EX deck. I have personally loved Toedscruel ever since it came out. I think it's got an awesome ability called Protective Mycelium, where you prevent all effects of attacks done by your opponent's Pokemon to all your Pokemon with Grass Energy in play. Or really any energy in play, but we're playing 14 Grass Energy in the deck, so that's all we got. And ever since the new Teal Mask Ogerpon came out, we have an awesome energy accelerator and built-in draw engine for the deck that's been helping Toedscruel draw a lot of cards, get active, and kind of stay live, doing solid damage and using its ability to its full potential. And with cards like Dragapult and Sableye kind of dominating the format, even Cresselia and Guardy, preventing all effects of attacks is a pretty useful thing right now. Colony Rush also is not a bad attack at all. 80 base damage plus 40 damage for every benched Pokemon with Grass Energy attached. So you could swing for a maximum of 280, and with the A-Spec maximum belt, we can hit 330 damage, which, I mean, obviously KO's Charizard, we're hitting for weakness, but more importantly, KO's Guardy EX and Dragapult EX, which are two of the biggest decks out right now. So maximum belt, I think, is probably one of the best A-Specs for this deck. The deck itself, pretty straightforward. I mean, we got a 4 Toedscool line, but one of them is the Toedscruel, which kind of shuts down decks like Chien-Pao, Goldengo, which aren't too popular right now, but I feel like it can't hurt. It's got the ability Slime Mold Colony, where cards in your opponent's discard pile can't be put into their hand by effects of abilities or training cards. So essentially, Superior Energy Retrieval doesn't work too well. I put this card in the deck after losing a couple matches to Raging Bull EX. They do play 1 or 2 copies of Energy Retrieval or Superior Energy Retrieval, so I thought having a bench Toedscruel wouldn't be a bad, just like support Pokemon for certain matchups. But if I had to cut a card, it would probably be this one, and I would put in maybe something like Bravery Charm or something like that. Something to beef up these Ogerpons a little bit. Put them a little past 210 HP. We are playing a 1/1 Hisuian Lilligant VSTAR in the deck, predominantly for its Star Perfume VSTAR power or ability. During your turn, you could search for 5 cards in any combination of Grass Pokemon or Grass Energy. So a lot of times, a turn 2 Lilligant VSTAR can turn into everything you need to get going with the deck. Other than that, we got a pretty straightforward list. We're running 4 energy switches just to swing around energy to different Pokemon, from Ogerpon to Toedscruels to Radiant Venusaur, which I'll talk about in a second. And yeah, I mean, the support account pretty standard. We're playing a couple Arven, a couple Iono, 1 research for the just in case. 14 energy. We're playing a much higher energy count because we got 4 Bug Catching Sets, which is a new card that came out in Twilight Masquerade. Where you look at the top 7 cards of your deck, and you can reveal up to 2 Grass Pokemon or energies, and put any combination of those in your hand as you want, but a maximum of 2. So between Bug Catching Set, Energy Switch, and Ogerpon, it is super easy to get a whole bunch of Pokemon set up and play really quick. And for my single prize attacker for the deck, I opted to use Radiant Venusaur, which I think is one of the most fun Radiants that ever came out, and I absolutely love this card so much. With the Sunny Bloom ability, at the end of your turn, so essentially after you attack and take a prize card, you may use this ability and draw up to 4 cards in your hand. So it kind of helps if you've got a dead hand, but you played a lot of cards, kind of helps build that hand back up. More importantly, it's got 150 HP, which is a really solid number for basic Pokemon. It could live Cram, it could live Sableye, and it swings 490 damage, but you also burn, confuse, and poison your opponent's Pokemon, which does essentially 120 damage a turn, and if they pass, you could be an extra 20 from the burn and an extra 10 from the poison if they did not retreat, flip heads, or do whatever they needed to during the Poke Checkup. Also, Confusion is a huge attack right now. If your opponent's Pokemon is stuck in the active spot and you confuse them, they have to flip a coin to attack, and if tails, they take 30 damage and don't attack. So Radiant Venusaur could get lucky and get an attack or 2 off. And do some big time damage. So I love the Radiant Venusaur in this deck. I can't wait to show you guys this deck. We're gonna play 3 matches and hope it goes well. So I will see you in game number 1. Alright, for match number 1, we have a bit of a rougher opening hand, but I mean, it's definitely not awful. I mean, we've got Arven for next turn, which can hopefully get us going a little bit, but I don't even know what I necessarily want to take. We are playing Dragapult Charizard, which is a tough matchup, but I mean that's what this deck is for. I mean, we can one-shot Charizards. We have the potential to one-shot a Dragapult, and we can shut off the damage counters done to bench if we get Grass Energy there. So, you know, we definitely got some teeth going into this matchup. You know, we got a solid deck. You know, for both Pokemon, you know, we could kind of deal with both of them. I don't know what to do next turn. We're going to have a rougher start going out of this one. You know, maybe even a Rotom in this deck doesn't seem too bad. I mean, it does limit your bench a little bit, so but I'm really jealous of their instant charge draw 3 right now, because our hand isn't looking awesome. If we had a Lilligant V in play from last turn, that would have been awesome. We would have flew through the second turn, but we weren't able to totally get everything we wanted, so we might be a turn behind. I mean, it depends what they do right now, and they just got everything into play, man. I mean, they got Charizards, they got Draclukes, Pidgeys. Oh man, they popped Forest Seal Stone, they used Arven, and they just ripped the instant charge. So, you know, I'm curious what they got for next hand, but their first turn was absolutely insane, and that was a massive top deck for us, allowing us to go for a Bug Catching Set and hope we can set up other Pokemon. Actually, you know, I am tempted just to take Nest Ball, because we are going to take the KO here. No need to force a chance of bench Pokemon with Bug Catching Set. I think I kind of just like Nest Ball for Lilligant V. Let me just make sure it's in the deck. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Because then next turn, we can get a full board set up really fast, as long as they don't get a big boss KO here. I don't think Rigid Band is going to help us too much in this matchup, so I am just going to play it now. Just kind of take it out of the deck in case they rip out Iono. And we will take the first prize card off a Dreepy. And another energy isn't bad to see. I mean, that kind of allows us to take more Pokemon with Lilligant VSTAR's, you know, ability, and kind of draw better with some Ogerpons. You know, make sure we keep kind of flying through the deck. So definitely not a bad card to get at all. And they do have Rare Candy Pidgey, of course. So let's see this turn if they go for another Rare Candy Dragapult or Rare Candy Charizard. I am definitely hoping they get the Charizard, because we can deal with that much easier than a Dragapult. And they do get Radiant Charizard as well, which gives them some one-hit KO potential with a single prizer, which is a little scary, but I think we could deal with it. I mean, they definitely aren't using it this turn, that's for sure. There's no way they're getting all of the energy in their deck onto that Charizard right now. But we will see what they go for with Pidgeot EX. That quick search ability is insane. I mean, it just search for any card once per turn. That thing will never not be a busted ability. It's an awesome tech for sure in decks like this. And they do go for Lance, which is interesting. You don't see that too often. Them taking another Dracloak tells me they don't have an attack this turn, I'm hoping. Although we're not really KOing the Pidgey either, I don't believe. So, you know, it's definitely a tough spot. Definitely a tough spot for both players right now. They are going to retreat into Rotom, which I don't think is in our KO range this turn. But we actually can push for that depending on what our top deck is here. And it is a Toedscruel EX, which is okay. I mean, it depends what we draw off these Ogerpons. But we are going to get a huge Star Perfume out now. And I'm honestly... I think this Toedscruel will definitely be better. Definitely more attackers in this deck. And we just take a... We got, what, 2 spaces left? I think we just take 2 Ogerpon and a couple energy. Just take them out of the deck as well. And I kind of like it. I kind of like this a lot. So now we've got a full board set up. And if we get some good cards off these Teal Dances, I mean, we might be swinging for KO on Rotom, which would be massive. So, Vacuum isn't awesome right now. They already popped Forest Seal Stone. How much are we at? We're at 120, 160. Actually, you know what? We might have the KO this turn without energy. Oh, well, energy switch doesn't really help us. Yeah, we just have the KO this turn, which is absolutely massive for us, going up 3 prizes against us. I didn't even realize that. That damage ramps up quick, man, which is great for us. And they do promote Radiant Charizard. They can get a big attack here, although I don't know if I'm super scared of that, to be honest. Honestly, I don't hate an attack next turn with Ogerpon. We can go with another Toedscruel. I think it might be safer to go with Toedscruel and just keep our draw engine kind of protected on the bench because we were able to get 3 Toedscruel EX out into play so quickly. You know, I think we might as well just use them as a 2-4-6 attack set this game. But you could see how deadly this deck gets pretty quick. I mean, when you use Lilligant VSTAR like that, I mean, you kind of just fly through a setup, and we really haven't... Well, we played the one Arven. Yeah, we didn't play any supporters last time. That was just purely off Pokemon ability, what this deck could do, which I think really shows just how lethal it can be so quick. And they do play Charizard EX here, which is massive, because we do have Boss's Orders, and we are hitting for weakness. So we might have an out to a quick game 1 against such a dominant deck like Dragapult Charizard. But let's see. I mean, you know, they still can go for a crazy Iono play. Would hurt us a bit. And speak of the devil, next time I'll keep my mouth shut. There goes our boss. And hello, 3 cards. So, not an awesome hand. I mean, we do have Earthen Vessel. We can get rid of the Toedscruel, get a couple energies, get a little draw going. Ultra Ball really doesn't help us much. It doesn't really help us much at all. I think I'll keep it just in case I need to get another Ogerpon later in the game. And they do play Collapse Stadium. That does hurt us a little bit. But I think here, I think we can get rid of Lilligant VSTAR. I can't imagine we're going to need that much later into the game. But we do want to get rid of that if we want to deal with Dragapult EX. Because we need a full bench with energy plus the max belt to one-hit KO that. Which isn't a necessity, but it really does help us out a lot. We should be taking the KO here as well with Toedscruel, putting us down to 2 prizes, and we get our second boss. So I think that puts us, honestly, yeah, that puts us in a solid spot for sure. I mean, we're not out of the water yet, but we definitely feel pretty lucky right now. But our opponent also might quick search just for another Iono here, which would be a little difficult. But I like the energy switch here. I mean, I think if we can... Yeah, because now we could just keep drawing cards, use the energy switch, make sure we get the attack off with Toedscruel. We get another Ultra Ball, which doesn't really help us much. But, I mean, we were able to dig 1 card deeper in our deck, which I think does help in the long run. Oh, they got rid of Charizard EX. I didn't even pay attention to that. So boss isn't super, super big here. But we do need to get rid of this Radiant Charizard. So we will do that. And we will go down to 2 prize cards, which is honestly a solid early game lead for us. And we get a Bug Catching Set out of the prizes. That could pull us out of the water. But I like Boss's Orders here. I mean, it is much easier for us to KO a Pidgeot than it is for us to KO a Dragapult. So we still could walk away with this next turn. But we are going to need our one of Vacuum or our one of Temple of Sinnoh to get out of the water here. They do play Arven as their supporter, so we are keeping the hand. I'm curious what they're... I mean, yeah, they got a Rod back, Radiant Charizard. Oh, they could just 100% go for another Radiant Charizard attack. That would be problematic. And I think that's what our opponent is going to do here. That is an insane... insane loop they could do without quick searching yet. I mean, that is terrifying. And I'm not sure... The counter catcher up in Ogerpon. That could hurt. Honestly, I'd rather keep my Tentacruels. But I do need some draw power, so that definitely does put us back a bit. And depending on what's in our hand, I mean, they could have game next turn. This is down to the wire here. I mean, that Collapse Stadium was absolutely massive for our opponent. That saved him the game right here. So we'll see what we can get. We are going to Buddy Puff and try to thin the deck out, and we fail it, so that's alright. I do want to keep Boss's Orders, so I can't really play the Ultra Ball. I will just rip a Bug Catching Set, and that is fine by me. That ensures we get the KO this turn on Radiant Charizard, putting some more pressure on our opponent here. Oh, are we going to draw anything off the Bug Catching Set is the real question. We do. We get Energy Retrieval. Oh, that is big. We've got 2 energy. Yeah, we got 4 in the discard. So let's take back a couple of those. Let's just keep digging through our deck, see what we could draw here off one more Teal Dance. And I think we still have manual attached. Oh, research. That's big for us. I'm almost tempted to play it. I mean, if we get rid of this Radiant Charizard, if they get it back next turn, they got game no matter what. But we do need to look for a couple things to get a big KO on Pidgey. We do have another boss in the deck. We did see it before, so we could live without this boss. It hurts, but I think we have to. I think we have to just keep digging deeper. See if we got game. I mean, I will take the Radiant Venusaur, rip the research. Now that's big for us. That's really big for us right there. I'm really tempted to hold this hand. I think we have game, assuming they don't get Radiant Charizard back if they leave our hand. So I am really tempted to do that. I could get rid of Collapse Stadium down. I don't think they play 2 copies of it. And I think we might as well, just for safety, get rid of that Collapse Stadium. I mean, we could save Arven for next turn. I like getting another Ogerpon into play this turn, but we only have 2 energy. I'd have to Ultra Ball away Iono energy, and I don't necessarily like that the most, but a good full send never hurt anyone, so we might as well. Oh, we don't have any left. Oh, that hurts. Oh, that hurts so much. That's fine, though. We will draw some off Sunny Bloom, so, you know, not the end of the world. Definitely should have price checked. I mean, hard punished for that, but that's cool. That's cool. I mean, you know, we're taking this game down to the wire against the top decks, so, you know, I am fine with that. And I don't know if we have game next turn. I mean, we need Rod and Nest Ball. We do. We potentially have it. It depends if we hit a basic Pokemon off this Bug Catching Set, if I Arven for Rod and Max Belt. And they evolve Radiant Charizard here, which is fine by me. I mean, if they want to keep a Pokemon like that in play, that is okay. They did pop Pidgey's Quick Search. What did they play after that? It was just a Rare Candy and the Counter Catcher. Oh, and they're just going to swing 4 game with Charizard EX. Man. Oh, that was a rough game. That's a rough way to go for a match like that. I think we had game in hand if we hit a basic Pokemon off Bug Catching Set. I mean, yeah, that's just hard. I mean, the Radiant Charizard loop is insane with a deck like that, but, you know, that's just the versatility of a top-tier deck, but we definitely saw Toedscruel put up a legitimate fight. You know, swinging into, you know, a bit of weakness, you know, having to deal with the single prizers a couple times. You know, we saw Toedscruel EX put in some work, so I'm not upset with it at all, and I hope we can turn it around for games 2 and 3, so I will see you in game 2. Alright, and for match number 2... hard to tell. I mean, they got Tina Sleeves, Pokestop, Lightning Energy, definitely a little all over the place. Looks like Miraidon. Not 100% sure. I mean, the mulligan wasn't too revealing. Could be Miraidon. Could be Lost Box. I'm really not 100% sure. They are choosing to go first, and it is Lost Box. Lost Box is going to be a fun matchup for sure. I mean, I like our Lost Box matchup. We do prevent Lost Mine from kind of ripping us apart if we could get some Toedscruel EXs into play, which is good. I don't think many lists are opting to run Roaring Moon anymore, but we do stop their Frenzied Gouging attack if we got energy into play. They don't necessarily one-shot all of our Pokemon. I mean, you know, they could deal with, like, Ogerpons and stuff like that, but, you know, Toedscruel EX is a little beefy for them, so, especially if they cannot use Sableye, that might make it really difficult for them to get some big KOs when they need it. So I definitely like our Lost Box matchup going into this, and hopefully will bring us back to 1-1 after a tough loss to Dragapult Charizard. So let's see what our opponent's got for us here. Getting rid of a Colress off Pokestop is massive for us, and they have the Dark Energy, so maybe we will see Frenzied not necessarily see Frenzied Gouging, but maybe we will see Roaring Moon in this matchup. That would be awesome for us because we're hitting into weakness, and they cannot use Frenzied Gouging, assuming we get energy out of that Pokemon, which would be big. So here, I think I want to pop Bug Catching Set first, see what I want to do with this. I like Lilligant in this matchup. I like the ability to just get super aggressive here and evolve as many Toadschools as possible. So I'm thinking I might hold Iono. I mean, they got rid of a Chorus off Pokestop. I think I might just go for a Buddy Buddy Puff in here, try to thin the deck out a little bit more. And maybe a Rich Band. We don't necessarily need Maximum Belt yet, so I am going to hold off on that. I'd rather them just vacuum away this, just to vacuum it away. And we are going to take a couple more. As long as we got 2 evolutions for them. They're probably going to KO one of these with Cram here, so that's fine. Greninja's a little scary next turn, but if we could dodge Greninja next turn, I really like where we're sitting. And we do get another energy, so I want to put it on one of these guys. I'm hoping they KO this with Cram. Could promote Toedscruel, easy attack with that. So I think I'm just going to throw it on the far one there. And let's throw the Rich Bin here. So, we got some options. They got multiple things they might want to go after. And we'll pass. I'm happy with that turn 1, though. Oh, cards are here. Definitely happy with that turn 1. I like where we're sitting. Let's see how they respond to this. Iono next turn is going to be huge for us. I mean, if we could get Lilligant VSTAR into play next turn, we're cooking. Absolutely cooking. Did I check if the VSTAR was in the deck or prized? Absolutely not. But we're playing on the ladder, so if we get punished, we get punished. That's just how it is sometimes, man. I mean, that's what I get for not paying the fullest attention, but that's all right. I mean, just see what happens. We're playing Toedscruel EX. They do get rid of a Roxanne early, which is nice. Couple Buddy Buddy Poffins stop some potential setup. Our opponent was definitely prize checking. Good for them. And they do get Greninja out, which is where I start to get a little scared. Because if he gets a double KO with Moonlight Shuriken, we're going to be fighting an uphill battle. I don't think we're out. I mean, we're definitely not out for the count. But it's going to be an uphill battle. We may have to just rip it with one Toedscruel at that point. I don't know if we'll have the luxury of getting another one into play after that, but we'll see. And they're digging deep here, which, if they whiff Chorus, means we'll probably Iono them into one, because they've gone through just so much of their deck without seeing one at this point, save for the one they got rid of with Pokestop, but they opt to use Heavy Ball there. Who did they take? That's big for them. How many? They're at 4? Okay. And they took Comfy, so they could get... If they use another Comfy and Chorus, they're at 7. Greninja's looking lethal. But I don't know if they got it like that. I mean, 11 cards in hand. Only one Chorus all play. They do use Lost Vacuum here. Just get rid of the Rich Band. It was there just to get rid of your vacuum. It does feed their count. Oh, actually, if they vacuum their own Pokestop, they could get a bigger Greninja play, and they do go for that route. Now it's looking really scary. Now Greninja's a huge possibility without Chorus, but they do put Cram down, and I'm hoping they just swing with Cram. I mean, that would be huge for us. Do get Iron Hands. I don't know if they got all of that, though. Do they just have the retreat into Cram? I think so. Yep. And that's okay. I'm totally fine with that. Definitely got a little scary with that vacuum play there. I thought, maybe they had it, but it seems that they didn't. So Iono will probably hit them into a Chorus here, and that's just how it is sometimes. So that's fine. Nothing, can't do everything with Iono. Let's Teal Dance here, just try to dig a little deeper in our deck before we energy switch. We get an Ultra Ball, which is awesome for us. So if I attach the one energy, I don't like to get rid of Boss here. I might have to. I also really like the energy switch play, just to keep more of our Pokemon safe from Sableye. Although we are going to evolve Lilligant this turn, and Toedscruel. I think we just get rid of the energy in the boss. I like the energy switch. I like getting our energy all over the board. It just stops Sableye. Sets up future Pokemon. I mean, I think that's just like the best play all around. Getting rid of Boss does hurt, but... And we did prize the V-Star, which saves us for sure. But we are going to rip Energy Switch here. And I'm going to Iono before the V-Star. Just see what I get. If I could get a Pokemon off this Iono, that would be perfect. Or I guess the Bug Catching Set here. I'll do that before the V-Star too. See what we get. We get Radiant Venusaur. I don't necessarily know if I'm going to need Radiant Venusaur here. I don't hate taking it. It is a solid attacker. I am worried about it clogging up our bench a little bit. It's a little difficult to set up, but I think I'm going to take it. You know, just one more Ogerpon in play. I think that's all we'll need. Between that and Radiant Venusaur, we should be fine off that. So now here, we pop Star Perfume. We're definitely getting 2 of these guys. Take another Ogerpon, and we will grab 2 energy, just filling up the rest of our board. And we will see what we could do with this setup. This is why I love Lilligant VSTAR. I mean, just for a deck like this, a 1/1 line is all you need. I mean, it just... You kind of dominate after that. I don't even know if I want to pop the Bug Catching Set here. I'm not necessarily looking for Grass Energy right now. I don't hate keeping it in the deck in case we see something later like Roxanne or Iono. We might need that, so I think I'm just going to leave it and rip this Cram apart with Colony Rush for 200 damage. So next turn we are 100% in KO range of Iron Hands, which should be the tankiest Pokemon in their deck. And we take our third Toedscruel EX out of the prizes, which is good for us. I'm curious what line they go for after this. I mean, they don't... We've got a really beefy attacker for Lost Box to deal with in the active. A lot of our Pokemon are immune to Lost Mine. If they want to chase down something like Radiant Venusaur, I'm honestly okay with that. We've got a bunch of Energy Switch left in the deck. We have the manual attachment. And it's only 1 prize card, so if that's what they want to go for, I'm not totally stopping them. But I will start setting up that Venusaur this turn, just to make sure that if they boss it up, it is looking a little more lethal, and they get a Palpad in play. Taking back the Colress. Yeah, they really haven't had great luck finding these Colress. They fail the Pokegear. They have to have prized like 2 Colress at this point. I mean, there's no way that they've dug this far in their deck, and honestly, I don't think they've played. Yeah, they haven't played one. They haven't lost owned one. That's insane. I mean, hard luck for our opponent, but sometimes that's just how it goes with Lost Box, man. I mean, it's such a dominant draw engine, but sometimes you are just short the one piece you need, or the supporter, because there isn't many supporters in that deck. And they can keep using Cram. I am not scared of Cram. I will keep swinging in the Cram all day with this deck. And they get the Roaring Moon out, so I'm curious if they know what my ability does, or if he's going to use Frenzied Gouging and not realize. And they scoop here. I mean, there it is. Just an absolutely dominant setup from Lilligant VSTAR. It just honestly solos Lost Box decks. At that point, between Protective Mycelium, multiple of them in play, Radiant Venusaur as a single prize attacker, and Ogerpons to keep that draw going with the Sunny Bloom as a backup, you see Toedscruel get after it. So we are sitting 1-1 going into match number 3. I will see you there, looking for a positive record. Alright, with match number 3 starting, we did win the coin flip and choose to go first, which I think helps us out a little bit. Bug Catching Set could make or break this hand, but at least for next turn, we've got Iono, so if we could just live a turn, you know, I like where we're sitting, and we're playing Gardevoir EX. As the BDIF right now, it's definitely the deck to beat. That might be a much harder matchup for this deck, but we do have Radiant Venusaur as a single prize attacker, which we honestly could do some work with. But I'm curious how this one goes. I mean, Guardy's a hard matchup. We are playing a 2 prize deck. We are playing a bunch of EXs, so it makes it a little difficult for us to, you know, maintain a healthy prize trade like them. We could get rid of the basic Toedscruel, this guy right here. I think I just want to bug catching first, see what's up. Oh, Lilligant VSTAR is going to be big. And Toedscool, definitely got to get those guys on the bench. Can't totally tell yet if Lilligant VSTAR is prized. But I really like where we're sitting with this. We might have to go for an early game attack with Ogerpon just because it's in the active. Which is fine by me. I mean, we don't have to use Toedscruel EX early game against a deck like this. I like where we're sitting for next turn, though. I definitely like where we're sitting for next turn a lot. I might play the maximum belt early. It might get vacuumed on the Toedscruel. I might get a little punished for it, but I guess I don't have to. I guess I could keep it in the deck. We play Arven, so I could dig it out later. I'm just scared. You know, I might want a boss KO on Guard EX later. That could really help our prize mapping. And since we can reach those numbers for an OHKO, it's not bad to keep in mind, but it's not necessarily critical that we, you know, put it in play this turn. So we'll just Iono it to the bottom of our deck. We'll dig it out later. Our opponent takes Buddy Buddy Poffin, and I believe that was TM Evo off to Arven right there. It was. So they might just be going for some early game setup, which is okay. I hate Ionoing Guardy into a bigger hand. You know, they might be going from 3 to 6, but because we're playing Guardy, I think it's more important that we take the KO, and they don't TM Evo, which is shocking. So that's how I don't know what they have in their hand, but I'm terrified of it. I mean, I know it's 2 energy and a TM Evo, which didn't seem like something worth keeping. So I'm curious what the other cards were. But I mean, we got. I could just go 2 energy here. I don't hate that. I could go for another Toedscruel. I'm trying to think if it's worth it. It might be. It might really, really help us. So maybe I take the Toedscruel. I could use Ultra Ball here, just get Lilligant VSTAR. Start getting a really, really dominant setup. And I think that's going to be our line. I don't know. There's not really a great card to get rid of in this hand. So I think Vacuum's got to be the one to go with Toedscruel. But we could really use Vacuum later. I think we just get rid of an energy here. I mean, we can always bring an energy back. We are trying to use Lilligant VSTAR, so I think energy's got to be the way to go. I'm going to keep the Vacuum, so later in the game, if they load up like a Drift Bloom with damage, Vacuum's going to be a cheeky KO for us. So that's definitely got to be something we keep here. And we're just going to start Perfume now. Do we want... I think we just go Ogerpon Venusaur. Take a lot of energy. Just why not? Although I could take Toedscruel EX for next turn. Actually, I don't hate that either. We always can get more energy off an Iono. And I think that might be a safer route for us. So yeah, let's do that. Safety is never a bad thing. We're not going to be drawing with Radiant Venusaur and Sunny Bloom, but I think that's okay for now. I can manually attach to it. It's not super hard for me to set up a Toedscruel. It's just one energy switch and a manual attachment away, which isn't super hard to find in this deck from attacking. Venusaur is a little more difficult, and because we're playing something like Guardia, I'm probably going to need a single prize attacker this match, so I think that is going to be the play I go for. I threw the game. Oh, I threw it pretty bad. I used my manual attachment without realizing Ogerpon did not have what it needed to set up. So I think here, that hurts, that punishes us, but I need an energy switch off this Iono. We gotta get aggressive early, and we do hit it. So we're not totally punished, never punished, but that was bad. Definitely forgot about that. And they scoop here, so I cooked them into a dead hand. It was a quick match number 3, but, I mean, you know, even... I guess that just goes to show how dominant a quick setup like this could be. putting Guardy into a rather rough spot by forcing a KO, maybe taking out a couple Curlias in their hand, which was maybe what they were saving. Um, just would have led to an early beatdown with some Ogerpons and some Toedscruels. But yeah, I mean that's gonna wrap it up for match number 3. We did go 2-1 with Toedscruel, proving it is not a bad deck right now. Honestly, has some really solid early games if you could get Lilligant VSTAR out to just fully set up your board by your second turn. I mean that's an overpowered thing to abuse right there. So definitely a solid deck. Would love to see this more on the ladder. I will be posting the deck list down below, and if you have any deck list ideas you want me to try in the future, please let me know. I'd love to give them a shout, and I will see you guys in the next video.